can you tell me what are the topics we have seen yesterday?
Yes, ma'am.
What is transmission medium?
It is the way in which data is transmitted from one place to another, ma'am. It provides a pathway over a message can travel from source to destination, ma'am.
Very good, very good. Okay, I hope the screen is visible to everyone. Is it visible? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, fine. Okay, so let us get into the next kind of guided medium. Okay, so this is an example of the guided medium. So in the guided medium, we have seen that there are three types. The first one is the twisted pair cable. We discussed the twisted pair cable in the yesterday's class, and today we'll be discussing the coaxial cable and the fiber optics or the optical fiber. Right. So this is a coaxial cable. This looks like this. So this is the copper wire. Okay. So here the inner conductor is nothing but the copper wire. So this is the copper wire, and you can see that there is an insulator here. And then you can see that outer conductor is there. The outer conductor is a mesh braided, like it's braided like mesh. So this is again the outer conductor, which is a copper wire braided like this. And then you can see that there is a plastic cover here. Okay, right. So let me show you the cut view of this particular coaxial cable. So this is the cut view. So if you cut the coaxial cable, it looks like this. So this is the internal structure of the coaxial or the concentric cable. It's also called as concentric cable. So here, as I said, like this is the copper wire, inner insulation, inner conductor, and then this is the insulating cable material over here, and then you can see braided outer conductor. So there is a conductor inside and the conductor outside, and then you can see that protective plastic covering is here. Okay, so cables with a better shielding than twisted pair cables. So here you, in the coaxial, like you can see, there will be a better shielding compared to the twisted pair cable. And transmitted signals travel long distances at higher speeds over here in the coaxial, and shield minimizes electrical and radio frequency interference. The purpose of this particular shield, okay, so this metal mesh kind of braided conductor. So the purpose of this particular shield is to minimize electrical and radio frequency interference. So you know what is interference? Through interference, what happens is the original signal will be lost by adding the external signals also get added to the original signal, and the quality of the signal will degrade. So that kind of interferences will be minimized by adding shields. Okay, so by adding more shields, what happens is the original signal will be like the original signal after traveling long distances. So shielding is very important for any cable that we talk about, and it is primarily used by cable television, also used as Ethernet. And second, copper wire is wrapped around for protection from external EMI. Okay, so what is EMI? EMI stands for electromagnetic interference. Yeah, yeah. What do EMI stand for? Tell me. Chapandi.
Electromotive interference.
It is noise. Okay.
Electromagnetic interference.
Yes. Okay. Right. All these are covered in plastic to protect from physical damage such as fire or water. So this outer one, because these cables can run underground, okay, so they need to be protected from fire or water, any floods or anything, they need to be protected. So that's why you do have a plastic covering on top. And so coaxial cable is seen very less in computer networks because of UTP and STP twisted pair cables. Because these are more better, STP and UTP are more better than coaxial cable. Initially, like coaxial cables were used, and with the twisted pair coming into the market, then there was less. Now there is less usage of coaxial cable, but still has very high importance in analog systems such as cable television distribution networks. The coaxial cable consists of a center conductor. So I already told you, like this is the copper wire, okay, and surrounded by dielectric material, which is insulation. So there is an insulation here, insulator. and then a concentric shielding over here. So the braided mesh kind of conductor over here. And finally, a rubber environment protection under jacket. Okay, so this is the plastic wire is nothing but the jacket. So which shields the copper wire from water and flood, water and fire. And a coaxial cable with one layer of foil insulation and one layer of braided shielding is referred to as dual shielding. So here you do have, this is what is called as dual shielding, but sometimes you do have two layers of foil insulation and two layers of braided metal shielding. So then you call it as quad shielding. Okay, so shielding is very important for interference. Okay, so if less shielding is there, then the outside noise can be added to the signal. Okay, because of shielding, what happens is the outside noise will have less chances to add to the original signal. So the more shielding, the more protection from interference will happen. So this is regarding the coaxial cable. Coaxial cables are categorized by their radio government, which is given with RG ratings. So the categories are RG. RG stands for radio government, and RG 59, 58, 11. So these are the categories of the coaxial cables. And this is like the impedance is 75 ohms and 50 ohms and 50 ohms. So 50 ohms impedance with RG58 cable is called as is used for thin internet, and 50 ohms impedance with RG11 cable is used for thick Ethernet, and 75 ohms RG59 cable is used for cable TV. So these are some of the categories of the coaxial cable. And RG radio government numbering system is used with the coaxial cables to refer to the cables approved by the US government. Okay, US DOD, which is Department of Defense. And to connect to coaxial cables to devices, we need a connector, like how I have shown you a connector with a twisted pair. What is a connector called as in the twisted pairs? Can you name some of the connectors that we have seen in the twisted pair?
RG11 and RG45.
Okay, so those are the connectors, right? Okay, so the connectors that common type of connectors here are the BNC connectors, which are called as Bion-Neal Conselman connectors, right? So this is regarding the coaxial cable categories of the coaxial cable. And now let us look into the advantages of the coaxial cable, which is also called as coax. So high bandwidth, so 1 gigahertz depends is the bandwidth it can transmit, and this transmission depends on the cable quality. As I told you, the quality of the cable depends upon how much shielding is done and all that, and the length of the cable and signal to noise ratio. So these are the measures on which the bandwidth depends. And then noise immunity is there because there is lot of shielding in the coaxial cables. And next is applications. Applications are like they are used in telephone lines, they are used in MANs, metropolitan area networks, and the cable television. So this is regarding the coaxial cable, which is used for guided or bounded or the wired transmission. And the next kind of wired or guided or bounded transmission medium is the fiber optics cable, which is also called as optical fibers. So both are synonymical. Optical fibers or fiber optics both are same. So what is fiber optics? Okay, so fiber optics are made of a high quality of thin or plastic lines. Okay, so these optics are made up of high quality thin glass. Okay, so not only glass, you can also see that they are sometimes made of plastic. Now, what will be the size of this particular glass? It will be the size of the human hair. Okay, so cables consist of one or more strands of glass, slightly thicker than the human hair. Okay, so 1 mm. Okay, so it will be like 1 mm thickness or something like that. Okay. Slightly thicker than the human hair, and is used to transfer digital data signals in the form of light. So here the data is transmitted in form of light up to distances of thousands of miles. Okay, right. And fiber optics cables are not affected by EMI, so there won't be any noise or distortion created here. So you know what is noise? Noise is electromagnetic interference, and then distortion is like degrading or altering of the signal. Okay, so the signal alters, like you send one, and in the middle during the transmission it changes to some other signal. So that is distortion, and noise is like adding of noise to the original signal. So these kind of problems you do not have with the fiber optics cables. Okay, so there will not be very minimal. We cannot guarantee that it is 100% noise free and distortion free, but the compared to the other mediums that we have learned, that the noise and distortions are very minimal over here in the fiber optics, and carry communication signals using pulses of light generated by small lasers or light emitting diodes. So these diodes will convert the data. So here what happens in the optical fibers is that the data is converted or encoded. You say that the data is encoded to light, and so these lights are emitted by the diodes. So the encoding happens here. The data is encoded to the light and at the source end. Okay, so this happens at the source end, and at the destination what happens is this light is decoded into the data. Okay, so at both the ends, like you will be having the encoder and the decoder. So the encoder's responsibility at the sender side is to convert the data into the light signal, and the decoder responsibility at the receiver end is to decode the light into the data signals. Okay, so this will be there. Here the pulses of lights are generated, and the communication is light communication here, and the cable consists of one or more strands of glass. I already told you. And it is unidirectional data transmission. So if you want to transmit as a duplex one, you need to have two cables. Okay, so fiber optics cables to transmit it in the duplex mode. So that is regarding the fiber optics. So this is an cut through view of the fiber optics. So you can see that in the middle, like you have these optical fibers. As I told you, they are like thin, like your hairs. And then this is an water resistant jelly casting is there, which is generally of 2.3 mm. So this is one type of fiber optics cut through I am showing you. It can vary from design to design. And this is the steel wires. So you do have, this is also called as cladding. So this is used for protecting the fiber optics from outside interference. And then you have copper tubing, and on top of it, like you'll be having polyethylene insulation. Okay, so high density one, which will be of like 17 mm diameter. So this is the whole cable will be of 2 centimeters. Okay, so the entire fiber optics cable will be of 2 centimeters long. Within this, like these are all the dimensions of various materials that are used for performing this manufacturing this particular fiber optics cable. So you have the central steel wires which are wrapped around the fiber optics to protect it from breaking and protection from water, because they are so thin, right? So that they tend to break, and you also need to protect it from water. So for that you do have this steel wiring which will help it from breaking and protection from water. And fiber technology can be used for voice, which is like phone conversations, and then data for internet and television. So the advantages are like it has lower attenuation. So what is meant by attenuation is that signal degradation happens when it travels lots of thousands of miles. After some time, the signal generally degrades if it is not light. Okay. So since it is light signal, so what happens is the attenuation, meaning that the degradation of the signal is very less. So that is lower attenuation. The loss of intensity of any kind of physical property through a medium. For example, the strength of a signal over the fiber optics or the optical fiber. So the signal will stay strong even after so many thousands of miles transmission traveling, the signal will stay strong. Okay, so the lower attenuation, and then you have less interference. Interference, I already told you that the alteration of the signal. So because it has got this cladding and all that, like the steel wires are put around this particular fiber optics and all that. So what happens is less interference happens. So signal remains as it is, like the originality of the signal will be there without altering. This is the third advantage. Okay, so the two advantages are here. So the lower attenuation and then less interference. The third advantage is a smaller size. As I told you that the cable is itself 2 centimeters long. Okay, so it's of small size and lighter weight. Okay, so since this is made up of plastic and all that, it is lightweight and then suitable for industrial and noisy areas, because we already saw as a second point that less interference. Okay, so since it does not get all the noise and all that, we also have seen that like it's not affected by noises and distortion. So where distortion and noise is very minimal over here, so that's why it is suitable for industrial and noisy areas. And then signals carrying data can travel long distances without weakening. That's what I told you. Like the strength of the signal will be good even if after traveling thousands of miles. Then coming to the disadvantages of fiber optics, like it's expensive, and then it's difficult to install, and then maintenance is expensive and difficult. Okay, so the cost wise it is expensive compared to the other guided medium, and then it is difficult to install, and also the maintenance. Okay, so after installation the maintenance is, in case if any of the wire is damaged, then to replace it, it is again expensive and it is also difficult. So that's it regarding the fiber optics. So we have come to the end of the guided medium or the bounded medium or the wired medium. So we have seen the three types of transmission, guided transmission medium, the twisted pair cable and the coaxial cable and the fiber optics. So I hope everybody understood this. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
One more confirmation.
Yes, ma'am.
One more.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now let us move on to the unguided or the wireless transmission medium. Let me give you some basic physics introduction over here, and then we can move on with the unguided transmission medium. So electromagnetic waves, there are two kinds of waves we generally know. One is the mechanical waves and the other one is electromagnetic waves. Every one of us need to have this to understand this communication. So we know like there are two types of waves. The first one is the mechanical waves. So mechanical waves are the sound waves or the waves of water. Water waves and sound waves are the examples of the mechanical waves which need a medium to transfer. Okay, so that's the reason why your sound cannot transmit or travel in vacuum. So sound and these are mechanical waves, and the other kind of waves are the electromagnetic waves. So the electromagnetic waves are formed by the electrical fields and the magnetic fields. When these electric fields and the magnetic fields couple together, then electromagnetic fields are created or waves are created. So this is a spectrum. So electromagnetic spectrum I have tried to show you. So in here, like you can see the wavelength, it starts like this. Okay, so you can see this visible light. So this is what is visible to your human eye. Okay, so we can see things in this particular wavelength. We can see the physical things, but something is there on the left side of this and on the right side of this. All these are electromagnetic waves. So the magnetic waves on the left side of the visible light, you can see like with more, with the greater wavelengths, like what we can see with our eye, come under the radio waves and the microwaves and then the infrared rays. Okay. And coming on to the right side of this particular visible light, you can see ultraviolet rays and then the X-ray and the gamma rays, where you can very clearly see it in terms of the wavelength. Okay, so the radiations or the electromagnetic radiations on the left side of the visible eye, you can see the wavelength is more compared to the electromagnetic waves which are on the right side of the visible light. Okay, so this part you can see with your eye, the rest of the things you cannot see with your eyes. Okay, so this is not visible to you and this is not visible to you. Okay, only this part is visible light. And so the first thing is the radio waves. The radio waves are used for broadcasting radio and television thing. And then microwave waves, which are again used for transmission also. We also use it for cooking. In the microwave oven is used to actually heat up the items or baking or anything, like we'll be using the microwave waves. And then the other one is infrared. So the infrared waves are also again used for communication. So we are going to see these three types of electromagnetic waves, the radio waves and the microwaves and the infrared waves which are used for the unguided transmission medium. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Why we are not using ultraviolet and X-rays and gamma rays is because they are very dangerous to the human body. Okay, so these radio waves and microwaves and infrared waves, since they have higher wavelength, they cause very minimal damage to the human body. So actually the studies are saying that the research studies are saying that we do not, it is not harmful or it's not hazardous to the human body, but too much exposure to this radiation, again it's a radiation, but minimal problem is created. But with the higher radiations like this, like the ultraviolet, which are emitted by the sun, so they cause you like tanning and they cause you skin burns and all that. Ultraviolet rays, which we say that they also cause cancer, so they're very harmful to you. And X-rays, again, they can penetrate through, they cannot penetrate through the bone. Okay, so that's why they're generally used in medical purposes to find out the fractured bone and all that. And gamma rays, they're used to kill cancerous cells, because what happens is as the wavelength reduces, the radiation becomes more harmful to the human body. And why they become harmful is because they have got this nature of knocking down the electrons out of the atoms, and what happens is they alter the cell structure itself. So they have this tendency to alter the cell structure. Altering the cell structure, cancer is like where the cell growth is there. So altering the cell structure, cancer cell structure, is helpful in that situations. In case if a person is suffering with cancer, then this is okay. These rays are helpful for that. But for the normal human being who do not have these cancerous cells and then exposed to the gamma rays, will create problems, health issues for that person. So that's why we will not be using this entire thing for communication. Okay, so this thing is not used for communication. This is used, this thing which is on the left side of the visible light, like the radio waves and the microwaves and the infrared waves, they are used for communication. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now coming to the radio waves. So the radio waves are electromagnetic waves that are transmitted in all the directions of the free space. Now, what is transferring it on the all the directions? Like say you have a tower like this. Okay, so say you have a tower. So let me draw a tower. Okay, so say that this is a tower and there is a transmitter here or whatever. So what is meant by omnidirection means that it is like this, okay, in all the directions. So it transmits in all the directions. So that is called as omnidirection. Okay, so it transmits in all the directions. So the radio waves are omnidirectional, that is the signals are propagated in all the directions. In case of radio waves, the sending and receiving antenna are not aligned. Okay, but in microwaves, they need to be aligned. So that's one of the differences between radio waves and the microwaves. Okay, so that's why it is specifically told here. So the wave sent by the sending antenna can be received by any receiving antenna. So generally that's the reason why it is used in radio, FM radios, wherein there will be one sender and multiple receivers, which is multicasting. Okay, and the transmitter and receivers do not have to be in direct line of sight. Okay, so they needn't be in direct line of sight. And an example of radio waves is FM radio. And coming to the applications of radio waves, a radio wave is useful for multicasting, as I already told you. And the FM radio, television, and cordless phones are examples of radio waves. And then advantages of radio transmission. So radio transmission is mainly used by WAN and mobile cellular phones, and radio waves cover a large area. Okay, so they cover a very large area and they can penetrate the walls and buildings. And radio, that's the reason if you are in your home in a closed room and if you want to listen to the radio, you can get the radio signals. Why? Because they can penetrate through the walls and the buildings. And radio transmission provides a higher transmission rate. Okay, these are all the advantages of the radio transmission. Now coming to the next guided transmission medium, which is microwaves. Okay. So there are two types of microwaves. The first one is terrestrial microwave and the second one is satellite microwave. So this is an example of a dish. Okay, so microwave dish. Antenna, you can also say that it is an antenna. And coming to the terrestrial microwave, like both the receiving and the sending antennas are on the ground. Okay, so on Earth. Now coming to the satellite microwave, wherein the receiving and transmission happens with the satellite. So that's the difference. Terrestrial means on the ground. And terrestrial microwave transmission is a technology that transmits the focused beams of radio signals from one ground based microwave transmission antenna to another one. So here I just wanted to tell you one point, that the antennas are generally parabolic antennas because the beams need to be sent in that way. Okay, so waves travel in straight lines and can be narrowly focused into a small beams using the special parabolic antenna. So you require this kind of parabolic antennas to transmit or to do communication using microwaves. And microwaves are, as I said, they are electromagnetic waves. They are in the spectrum of the electromagnetic waves, and the frequency is this 1 gigahertz to 1000 gigahertz. And microwaves are unidirectional, as the sending and the receiving antenna is to be aligned. In the radio waves, like I said, they needn't be aligned, but here they need to be aligned. Okay, so the waves sent by the sending antenna are narrowly focused, and that is done by a special parabolic antenna. And antennas are mounted on towers. Like you can see that towers will be there. On top of the towers, you can see that antennas will be put and send a beam to another antenna, which is kilometers away. It works on the line of sight transmission, that the antennas mount on the towers are direct sight to each other. So they need to be in the direct sight to be each other. And multiple transmitters and receivers can be set up in parallel without interfering with each other. So they need to be set up in parallel so that interference will not be there. And repeaters are needed to retransmit the signal due to the curvature of the earth. As I said, like they need to be in straight line. Okay, line of sight lo undali. So because of the curvature of the earth, now what you need is you need multiple repeaters to retransmit the signal. And typical transmitting towers are 100 meters high from the ground level. Okay, so they need to be, because they are terrestrial microwaves, so it need to be 100 meters high, and repeaters are needed every 80 kilometers. So these are the statistics to establish a microwave transmission. Now the characteristics are, as we already have seen, this is for the terrestrial one. Okay, so for the terrestrial one, so this is the range. And then it supports bandwidth up to 10 Mbps. Okay, and it is inexpensive for short distances, but for long distances, you need a lot of repeaters and all that for every 80 kilometers. So it becomes expensive for long distances. Okay, so high towers undali. Okay, and it requires high towers for long distances and all that, because they need to be in direct contact. So to make direct contact, the higher you put the tower, the higher, the more distance you can cover, the more area you can cover. And attenuation means loss of signal, as we already have seen. It is affected by environmental conditions and antenna size. Again, it depends, like attenuation is there, but it depends again with the environmental conditions and the antenna size. Advantages of microwave. So microwave transmission is cheaper than using the cables, and because the cable have to be dug under the ground and the cabling have to be done. And compared to that, you just need to put up a tower at one place and the other place. Like again, the land, I mean, you don't require to take the land acquisition is not needed, because for putting up the cables, again, you need to dig up the lines. And microwave transmission provides an easy communication in terrains, as the installation of cable in terrains is quite difficult task. Terrains is mountainy area, so in terms of in places of mountains, it is better to have a microwave transmission than digging up the mountain. So then having a cable. So communication over oceans can be achieved by using microwave transmission, because you cannot dig cables inside the ocean. So coming to the disadvantages of the microwave transmission. So eavesdropping can happen. Eavesdropping is somebody listening in the middle. So I'm talking to another person, say this is the source and this is the destination, and the source is sending some data to the destination, and somebody in the middle is coming and listening to the data. They are just listening to the data. What they do with the data, we don't know, but they just listen to the data. That is called as eavesdropping. And eavesdropping creates insecure communication. Somebody, any malicious user can catch the signal in the air by using its own antenna. So he can just listen to what is communicated between the source and the destination. So this is one of the disadvantages of microwave transmission. And out of phase signal. So a signal can move out of phase by using this. It can go out of phase. And then susceptible to weather conditions, meaning that if there are any weather conditions like wind can distort the signal or change the signal direction, and all that can happen. And bandwidth is limited. Okay, so limited bandwidth is there with the microwave transmission. So this is regarding the terrestrial microwave communication. And coming to the satellite microwave communication, so you know, like, what is a satellite? Satellite is a physical object that revolves around the Earth at a known height in a particular orbit. And satellite communication is more reliable nowadays, as it offers more flexible communication than cable and fiber optics. And we can communicate with any point on the globe by using satellite communication. So you needn't dig cables from one country to another country and all that. You can, by using satellite, any point in the Earth can communicate with any point in the other part of the Earth. And how does satellite work? Like, what happens? The satellite accepts the signal that is transmitted from the Earth station, and it amplifies the signal, making the signal strong. And then the amplified signal is transmitted to another Earth station. So this is how the satellite works. The advantages of using satellite microwave communication is that the coverage area is more compared to the cable and the other one. Like the terrestrial one. And coming to the transmission cost of satellite is independent of the distance from center of the coverage area. So again, the cost is it depends on the distance. And then the satellite communication is used in mobile and wireless communication applications. And it is easy to install, but very expensive. How it is easy to install is just put it in the Earth orbit and it will do its work. It is used in a wide variety of applications such as weather forecasting and radio TV signal broadcasting and mobile communication, etc. Now coming to the disadvantages of this particular satellite microwave communication. So the satellite designing, this is what I told you, like it's very costly to design a satellite, and more time is required. And satellite need to be monitored and it need to be controlled on regular periods so that it doesn't go out of orbit. Maybe in that orbit another satellite is revolving and it may hit that orbit, that satellite. So it is very important that it stays in its own orbit. So constant monitoring is required. And then finally, the life of the satellite is about 12 to 15 years. So after every 15 years, you need to launch a new satellite because the old satellite becomes non-functional. So this is regarding the guided second type of guided media, which is the microwave.